The secret psychology behind every penalty kick. When a player places the ball on that white spot, do you actually know what's happening inside their head in those 10 seconds before they strike it? Yes, it looks like a simple contest, one player, one ball, one open goal. But behind that walk back and run up, there's a battle most fans never see. And if you think a penalty is just about power or placement, which most fans do, you're missing what actually decides whether that ball ends up in the net or in the stands. Let's start with what really happens before the ball is even kicked. Most people assume the outcome of a penalty is decided in the moment the player strikes it. It isn't. Here's the thing. By the time a player's foot touches the ball, the result has usually already been decided somewhere else entirely, in their walk from the halfway line to the spot. Sports psychologists have long studied what's called the long walk, the 20 to 30 seconds between a penalty being awarded and the kick actually being taken. During that walk, a player's brain isn't thinking about technique anymore. It's replaying every penalty they've ever missed, every fan behind that goal, every possible outcome of the next 5 seconds. That's not preparation. That's a nervous system trying to process more information than it's built to handle in real time. And by the way, if you've ever wondered why some of the coolest, most confident-looking players in the world suddenly can't even look at the goalkeeper before they strike the ball, we'll get into exactly what that means by the end of this video. And it's something most fans completely misread. Now here's something even stranger. Have you ever noticed how some players seem to decide where they're shooting long before they reach the ball, while others seem to change their mind at the very last second? That's not personal preference. It's two completely different psychological strategies, and both come with a hidden cost. Players who commit early, deciding exactly where they'll shoot before they even start their run-up, are relying on what's called a keeper-independent strategy. They're betting entirely on their own execution, ignoring the goalkeeper completely. This removes a huge amount of decision-making pressure in the final second. But it also means if the goalkeeper happens to guess correctly, there's no way to adjust. Players who wait and react to the goalkeeper's movement are using a keeper-dependent strategy. It sounds smarter in theory, read the keeper, then react, but it comes with a serious risk. Waiting that extra fraction of a second to gather information under extreme stress often triggers exactly the kind of hesitation that leads to a weak, rushed, or badly placed shot. The body doesn't process complex decisions well under pressure, it prefers commitment. This is also why you'll see certain players develop a signature, almost robotic run-up. It's not stubbornness, it's a deliberate attempt to remove decision-making from an already overloaded brain. And hey, if this is changing how you watch a shootout, smash that like button and subscribe. It's the best way to help us reach more football fans who actually want to understand what's really happening on the pitch. But there's another side to this, and it belongs entirely to the goalkeeper. Ever notice how some keepers dive early, almost guessing, while others seem to freeze until the very last moment? That's not indecision, it's math. Research into penalty saves has found something goalkeepers themselves often don't consciously realize. Diving is statistically more effective than standing still, even though standing still gives a better chance of reacting to where the ball actually goes. Keepers dive early because doing something, anything, feels less painful to their own psychology than doing nothing and watching the ball pass them. This is known in research as action bias, the deep human urge to be seen taking action, even when inaction would sometimes be the smarter choice. This is why you'll notice some goalkeepers exaggerate their movements, waving their arms, bouncing on the line, stepping side to side. It's not just intimidation. It's an attempt to disrupt the taker's internal rhythm, to force that already overloaded brain to process one more variable in the final second before it strikes. Now here's where the real psychology of the penalty kick reveals itself. What actually separates a player who scores under pressure from one who misses isn't their technique, and it usually isn't even their confidence in that specific moment. It's something that happens earlier, back during that long walk to the spot. Players who've been trained to control their breathing and narrow their focus onto a single point on the goal, rather than the goalkeeper, the crowd, or the scoreline, are engaging in something sports psychologists call quiet eye training. Studies on elite penalty takers show that the longer and steadier a player's final gaze rests on their target before striking, the higher their success rate climbs. It's not about blocking out the pressure completely. It's about giving the brain one simple, uncomplicated task to focus on instead of everything else screaming for its attention. So what does it really mean when a normally fearless, ice-cold penalty taker suddenly can't even make eye contact with the goalkeeper before stepping up? This is what I mentioned earlier, and it's something every football fan should understand. That avoidance isn't fear of the goalkeeper specifically. It's the brain instinctively trying to reduce the amount of information it has to process in an already overwhelming moment.